Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. Just as always, reviewing last week's game against Cincinnati. Just really pleased overall with the execution and performance. I thought offensively we really did an excellent job moving the football, run and pass, and setting up play-action passes with a good, strong running game. Sam Bradford was again just outstanding in his execution. I guess a really good defense. Again, very experienced defense that has played well, and I thought our guys really, for the most part, executed really well, made a lot of big plays. Some of the guys offensively that were players of the game for us, Trent Williams, Sam Bradford, and then Jermaine Gresham and Ryan Broyles were the guys that were singled out as really – a lot of guys had really good games, but those guys were kind of the players of the game. And I was also just pleased defensively overall. You give up 13 points to it until the last, second of the game where they get 20. But, just that overall execution forced them to make some drives. Had to pick up some fourth down pickups when they did score. And there were just really a couple of plays that we gave up, a couple of big plays off a screen and off of a boot that hurt. But other than that, we really executed pretty well, got good pressure, limited their running game, which we always focus on. And, the biggest probably the problem in the game was which was obvious, was our kickoff cover. And after watching it, we have guys on each occasion, one or two guys that are in position to make plays that we're used to making and making a tackle. And then it's a 23, 24, 5-yard line and compliment to their return guy. He made some guys miss them, and we missed some tackles and gave up a couple of big plays that way. And we need to be better tackling in those situations, more aggressive, and take away the runner's options. So we'll work hard on that this week. Going to Washington, a team that's 0-2 right now, but they have played two very good football teams. Everybody realizes that. Oregon has another really good team, as does BYU. Many have picked to possibly go undefeated, but so they've lost some tight games. Of course, last week's game, everyone knows they had a chance to tie it up in the last seconds. Jake Locker, their quarterback, is an excellent athlete, one of the best athletes we'll face all year. With his size, his speed, his arm, all of that. He's an outstanding athlete that really everything runs through him offensively. But, again, Coach Willingham and his staff do an excellent job, always very sound, disciplined in their schemes and what they do. So going on the road up there will be a big challenge to start the year off on the road, not to start the year, but, to our first road game to have a great year, you've got to be able to go on the road and win. So that's what we're focused on, having a big week of practice and getting ready to go up and hopefully execute a good game.
What did you think of the celebration call?
It's not for me I'm not getting into that. Everyone else can. The rules are there and people interpret them. So I'm not going.
Do you like that
there.
rule? Should it be changed?
To make it like the NFL, I don't think that's right. No, I don't. I think if that's what you're asking me, to make it like the NFL, I don't see that would be the right thing to do.
Isn't it natural what he did to celebrate?
I'm not commenting on their actions. I comment on my players only. So.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, James. You didn't bring me a cake or anything, though.
Got a gift.
Are you 40?
The thought's enough. I appreciate it.
The quarterback, how they use him, he's such a great runner and everything, but it's his passing game that you have to.
Absolutely. He throws the ball really well, has a big arm, and and they have good schemes in how they work the ball. So it's definitely you've got to be really sound pass and the run.
Do you have defensive players of the week?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have said that. Jeremy Beal was the player of the week, and another guy really singled out, had an excellent game, was Travis Lewis. Yeah, but I can't think of those just offhand.
Wasn't on kickoff coverage, probably.
I didn't. What's that?
He probably wasn't on kickoff coverage. Coach, talk a little bit more about Lewis, because I know his name comes up a lot every week, but I know he's a key guy and he must be playing well.
Travis is playing very well. What's fun to see is him, having not played a lot, is really paying attention in practice and really pushing himself, preparing in the week to be in position and to recognize formations and adjustments and to be in the right spot. And he's been doing that and doing it consistently and making plays, in that regard. So it is, it's exciting to see a young guy coming on and starting to figure it out.
In terms of athletic ability and his measurables, or however you gauge him, what is he? What kind of an athlete is he?
Oh, he's an excellent athlete. Travis has size and runs well, and he's, typical of what we're used to having in our weak side position. He's got excellent feet and quickness, and he's got, size and some strength to him to go with it.
How do you judge the depth of your kickoffs, how far the ball's going in your first two games?
Well, obviously he kicked a couple into the end zone, and that's what you'd like to see with the wind. But all the others were somewhere from the 8 to the goal line. So they're adequate. I think he's capable of more, and I'm still hopeful as he keeps ironing out his technique that'll happen. But I don't see anyone else kicking him out all the time either.
How does Tressway do in practice?
Tress does well, but not any better at this point anyway. Now he's a younger guy, and I think he will. I'm awfully excited about Tress, but at this point that hasn't been. It isn't something that I feel is going to be improvement yet.
Bob, you face a mobile quarterback. Is the concept of spying an outdated concept? You always seem to downplay that.
Well, I don't. It just depends. It's easy if you're spying a guy and if you got an extra guy that you don't need in coverage, that'd be awesome. But I don't know a lot of coverages that works real well. And then otherwise you rush 3 and that other guy is spying, and we actually do some of that anymore. It's kind of a delayed rush. We did it last week. As you saw Jeremy and Austin in that position, we call it a flex position, where he's kind of in the line but not really. And so but we count him as part of the rush. There's something to that, and to some degree, we're ready to do a little bit of that in some ways. But again, you have to be careful on what you're giving up in coverage too.
Coach, it seems like your no huddle and everything is working great. Is this more than you thought, or is it about what you thought? Number of plays and how quick sometimes you catch the team.
It's probably what we'd hoped we'd get, and I was asked early what were some of the reasons. I want to have a lot. I just feel we have a good opportunity the more snaps we get, and I like how it's working. We're getting a good number of snaps. We've got a very bright, poised quarterback that handles it incredibly well, and we have an experienced team that's handling it well. I think Coach Wilson and all the offensive coaches should be complimented too. Just in the first 2 weeks of doing it, we've had very few glitches. I think we've had one in the 2-minute drill there at the end of the first half. John Cooper just didn't hear the audible, or they didn't hear the one check and snapped the ball, and that was the only time in 2 games we've had an issue with it. So it's what we'd hoped, and hopefully we'll just keep getting better in it.
Could there be a tendency in that for your defense to get tired if you're scoring in a minute and a half?
That's never an issue. I remember a long time ago when I went to Florida, people wanted to say that was an issue. Spurrier scored too fast, and what would I do? I was like, you can't score enough or quick enough for me. I'm all for it. If you're scoring touchdowns, we'll take it one play every time. I think the issue is if you're getting out there turning the ball over or going 3 and out, now it's an issue, and you've used 40 seconds on the clock. So I don't disagree that there can be a problem depending on how successful you are and are you keeping the ball and moving it. And we've done both. We've scored quick, and we've also had some nice drives that have rested the defense and and cooled off the other team's offense. So I'm definitely very aware of that. So hopefully we can. But when you're scoring, we have no problem with that, because it changes the other team's offense too after a certain point.